The broadcasters of your area, in voluntary cooperation with the FCC and other authorities, have developed this system to keep you informed in the event of an emergency.
Israel is presented as though we are applying a campaign of starvation in Gaza. What a bold-faced lie. There is no policy of starvation in Gaza, and there is no starvation in Gaza.
Right, these are the parachutes which will guide the aid down to Gaza. There are 8 tons on here, baby milk, some food, medical supplies, and there's this aircraft and one other from the UAE. Now, clearly, on its own, this is not going to make a great deal of difference. The only thing that really will make a big difference would be a lot of road convoys. You can't do it with airdrops. But airdrops are symbolic, they're telegenic, they look good on television, and they give the impression that something's being done. And without question, the fact this is being permitted by the Israelis means that they have responded to pressure.
People who don't agree with it.
Where's your decency, man? Where is your decency? Seriously, where is your decency? Do you not see the videos? Do you not see the starving children? 19 kids died of starvation over the last 48 hours. Where is your decency? I get that you're Jewish. I get that this is about your identity. I get that you want to defend your people. But sometimes you can't defend the indefensible. How many people need to die for you to be pleased with this slaughter campaign that's currently going on? How many? Tell me. When is it enough for you? Funny. And no one is buying the lie that that the genocide would end if Hamas releases the hostages. I'm not going to believe for a second that Israel gives a damn about the hostages, because they've been bombing the Gaza Strip. They've been blocking humanitarian aid from entering the Gaza Strip. That not only impacts Palestinians who are being slaughtered by Israel, but it also obviously is going to impact the hostages. No one is buying this dog and pony show.
How many tragedies and crimes against humanity must we face before we are called into action? Every day inches forward down the wrong path, away from God and His will. To be spoon-fed a narrative to maintain control, and pacified or silenced when too much awareness comes of it. You are being lied to and played as stupid right in front of your face. The worst of all, some of you will come to defend this narrative, pathetic and fast asleep to obey your overlords without question. This is the agenda: to divide and conquer, to distract and control, to extinguish your fire and have you remain docile and weak. You are being manipulated. Wake up.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah. I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
New tonight, the apparent end to a story many didn't expect. In a new memo, the Justice Department and FBI state that they have an exhaustive review into the case of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And they found no evidence of blackmail, no client list, and nothing suspicious surrounding his death.
Remember, it is Kash Patel who lashed out at House Republicans back in 2023 by saying this, quote, "Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are," end quote. Kash Patel also promised full transparency during his Senate confirmation hearing.
So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past and how we are going to countermand missing children and exploited children going forward.
His friend, the Attorney General Pam Bondi, goes on Fox News and says the Epstein client list is on her desk. 6 days after that, Bondi hands out binders to right-wing media personalities and influencers labeled The Epstein Files, Phase 1, a title that by definition implies that there are more phases, at least 2. All of this makes the July 7th memo declaring that there is nothing to see here. There was nothing. There was no client list. Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in prison. All that becomes all the more confounding.
And I think the real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. And we have every right to ask, on whose behalf was he working? How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from? And no one has ever gotten to the bottom of that because no one has ever tried. And moreover, it's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong with saying that. There is nothing hateful about saying that. There's nothing anti-Semitic about saying that. There's nothing even anti-Israel about saying that. What the hell is this? You have the former Israeli prime minister living in your house. You have had all this contact with the foreign government. Were you working on behalf of Mossad? Were you running a blackmail operation on behalf of a foreign government? By the way, every single person in Washington, D.C. thinks that. I've never met anyone who doesn't think that. I don't know any of them that hate Israel, but no one feels they can say that. Why? And I think the longer that we play along with it, the more subterranean and creepy and hateful the conversation actually becomes. So I think it's better just to say it right out loud. Did this happen? And of course, that question has been asked to the government of Israel, and their answer is, we're not going to tell you. And I think our answer should be, no. As long as we're sending you money, if you were committing crimes on our soil, we have an absolute right to know, did you do this or not? And yet everybody has been so brainwashed into thinking that's somehow an expression of hate or bigotry, when it's not. It's a baseline question that every U.S. citizen has a right to an answer on.
So don't you see it yet? It all comes back to money and control. By any means necessary, you are not valued or respected. While you work 3 jobs to scrape by, your politicians are generating wealth hand over fist while committing the most heinous acts and profiting off of it. And if you have the privilege being well off financially, you will feel no urgency to act. Because it is not directly affecting you now, but I come here to tell you that it will. Don't let this opportunity pass you by to make a difference. We are all human, and there should be a level of basic respect and decency to one another. If you are not fit to hold a position of power and abuse it, you should be overthrown immediately. Stop making excuses for something you'll never be a part of. These people do not care about you, and they will sacrifice every last one of you if it means to maintain their illusion of power, wealth, and control.
You could be mad, but you really should be mad at the politicians.
Yeah.
The corrupt politicians, and how many of them there are. And look at the mayoral race, where they all were saying, my first trip, I'm going to go to Israel.
Oh, yeah. Except for the dude. Except for, what's his name?
Won.
He said he's going to stay in New York.
The communist.
Oh.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to take care of the Jews in New York. Boom, checkmate. That was it. That literally won it for him. Because everybody else was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, New York is fucked. Take care of this goddamn city. Why? What's this loyalty and allegiance to Israel from the New York City mayors? The people that are candidates for mayor? Yeah. Like, your number one concern is Israel? That seems odd. Unless you're getting a ton of money. You know? Unless they have some video footage.
Yeah.
My family has fought for this country. I voted MAGA 3 times. My generation, just like you said, is convinced they can't trust the institutions and the administration, even this administration after last Monday. America first means America first, not foreign governments, not rich pedophiles. I have a lot more about the history, but I'm going to get through it out of respect for everybody. Basically, my questions are this. How does anybody possibly expect us to have any trust in our government, pay taxes, accept draft orders if these elites are not held accountable, right? And how am I anti-Semitic? My great-grandfather killed Nazis, and I brag about it. My mother's doctor was a Holocaust survivor, and everyone calls Trump a Nazi. My family in Chicago and my family in Ireland, which are both liberal hellholes, right? And it's pretty convenient that if he did criticize Israel, everyone could just say, look, I told you so, but that's not the point. Anyways, and finally, and how am I anti-Semitic when all my sources are Jewish, Israeli publications, and Holocaust survivors? And finally, and by far the most important, why can I burn an American flag in my country, but I get a mark by my name if I burn Israel's?
We the people are tired. We are constantly overlooked, betrayed, and chosen last in a country that promises to protect its citizens. We can no longer even entertain the idea of giving the benefit of the doubt to this government anymore. We know the truth, and it comes from your omission. We have lost our values and principles as a nation, while corruption runs rampant. It is not too late to make a change, but it has to come from us working together, like they do. Do not fear, do not bow down and accept a fate that is not yours. Stand up and do the right thing. Fight alongside with me, and together we can make an impacting change in this country from the foundation up. Our people are suffering too, and something must be done. I will stand for what I believe in and will not be intimidated by any opposing force. If you would like to support, please check our link below and help if you so choose. Thank you for listening to this message. God bless.